Here is what we've got on tap for today. The latest news from Browns minicamp after 2 days are now in the books, along with an interesting trade target / suggestion from Bleacher Report, so we'll unpack that. Plus, could Odell Beckham Jr. be coming back to the Buckeye State? We got all that and more coming up, but first, we are on our way to 10,000 subscribers. We crossed 9,200, so a little under 800 to go. So if you haven't already, I invite you to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. What's going on, everyone? Welcome into the Cleveland Browns Report by Chat Sports. Matthew Peterson here with you guys, breaking down the latest Browns news from minicamp, as we have that 2/3 the way done. They are in Canton, Ohio for day 2. A little fun field trip, all right? Just heading down to Canton, checking out the Pro Football Hall of Fame, getting a practice in out there as well before they return back to Cleveland tomorrow, where they will practice at First Energy Stadium. So day 1 at Berea, then they go to Canton, and then they're going to go to First Energy Stadium. 3 different locations for all 3 days of minicamp. Now, we've got some injury news to hit on really quickly before we get to maybe more of the fun, juicier stuff stemming from minicamp. New Akron Beacon Journal reporter Chris Easterling getting his you-know-what popped here on the show. So Jack Conklin, Jakeem Grant, Greedy Williams, and Stephen Weatherly working with trainers off to the side today, along with Anthony Schwartz, by the way, who was a no-go at minicamp because he was sick, according to head coach Stefanski, so he did not make the trip out to Canton. Now, it's promising to see Jack Conklin on the field, right? He tore his patella back in the Ravens game in December, and that's a tough injury to bounce back from, especially when you are a big offensive lineman. But he was on the field for walkthroughs, wasn't really doing a whole lot. Then again, no one was really doing a whole lot. It was a 30-minute practice before they took a tour of the Hall of Fame. But here's what Stefanski said about Conklin after day 1 of minicamp. We will see on training camp, but he has been here every day. He is working really, really hard. I think he is transforming his body. I think he is getting stronger. As you know, Jack has attacked this rehab, but him being here and being around his teammates has been important. Where that looks, I do not know. But I am very confident that he is on schedule. So we have that update right there. And then we got some other fun stuff going on over at minicamp here, because Cameron Justice tweeting out that Kevin Stefanski said on the bus ride down to the Pro Football Hall of Fame, they're watching a movie. They're watching a football life on Jim Brown. So it got me thinking, what is the #1 football movie of all time? My favorite sports movie is absolutely, hands down, Miracle on Ice. But honestly, The Hustle with Adam Sandler and my new favorite NBA player, Bo Cruz, is up there too. Producer Jack, he's a film connoisseur. He's smiling. Didn't even put it in his top 10. It's just criminal, if you ask me. But what's your favorite football movie of all time? Let me know down in the comments section. On to some other news from minicamp. What about a star? Grant Delpit. He picked off Deshaun Watson in the end zone during day 1 of minicamp. So anytime you make a play in minicamp, you're going to be a star, because it's minicamp. It's a non-padded practice, and they go light on drills. There's no one tackling the quarterback, so Deshaun Watson can roll around all the time he wants in the backfield. So for a defensive player to make a play when there's no pass rush, that says something, all right? He's coming off what I would say was his first real season. Right, rookie year coming out of LSU, ruptures his Achilles in training camp. Last year, he plays in 16 games for the Browns, so that was awesome to see. And he's been great so far throughout OTAs and now into minicamp, and he's picking up notice. Stefanski saying this about Delpit. Grant has been really good. He has done a very nice job. I think he has a really good understanding of what we are trying to do, which is half of the battle. You can play fast when you know what you are doing. He looks really smooth in and out of transitions. You saw him make a play on the ball, so he is doing a really nice job. Now, on the other side of the football, what about a wide receiver? David Bell, who has probably been, I would say, the most popular rookie. I mean, I think coming out of the draft, everyone would have said that would be Perion Winfrey, and he's up there, but I'd say Bell has been the most eye-popping rookie so far because, I mean, for example, he doesn't drop the football. I mean, he has 1 drop, according to his records, through all of OTAs, going back to even to rookie minicamp and into minicamp now. And plus, He's locker mates with QB1, Deshaun Watson. So clearly they're trying to plant some seeds of a connection right there for years down the road. And the guy's just got sticky hands. Cry me a river about a slow 40. I don't give a shit. He's been awesome so far at minicamp. We've got an interesting trade rumor to get to next on the show. What about a former top 5 pick in the draft? Clelin Ferrell, who was the Raiders' 4th overall selection in 2019, has not lived up to the billing, right? As long as you follow the NFL even somewhat closely, you know there are a couple things that are guaranteed, and that is the Raiders suck at drafting. So Bleacher Report suggested the Browns go out and trade for Ferrell. Now, the Bleacher Report noted that the Browns, they need some help at that pass rushing position. They don't have much depth right there. Here's what Bleacher Report said about this trade. Ferrell could serve as a nice reclamation project in Cleveland, while the Raiders could get some future draft capital out of the deal. His $10 million cap hit is noteworthy, yeah, you think? But the Browns have more cap space than any team in the NFL right now. Before I give my take on this potential trade or this trade idea, let's at least look at the defensive line here to see what this pass rush help they need is, because I disagree. I mean, sure, you're maybe a little top-heavy after Myles Garrett and Clowney, but Chase Winovich, who is a starter for the Patriots, to have him come in on second and third downs in obvious passing situations, that's awesome. I liked what I saw out of Stephen Weatherly last year for the Broncos. He got traded midseason for Minnesota. Plus, you have Alex Wright, who is a young, athletic freak, and you're hoping he can develop nicely. And then you've got other good depth pieces like Thomas and Rochelle. Listen, we all know that Clelin Ferrell is in a long list of Raiders' top draft picks that haven't worked out. Is he as bad as advertised? No, he's just picked too high. You know, at the time, that's how a lot of people felt, and that was proven to be correct. In his career, just 8 sacks through 3 seasons. I would say the best thing about him is at least he's been relatively available. I mean, aside from missing a couple games in 2020, he's been on the field for the Raiders. He just hasn't been starting or productive. Now, here at Chat Sports, we have a Raiders channel, and Mitchell Renz runs that Raiders report, and he suggested this trade idea. He has the Browns sending Taki and a 6th-round pick over to Vegas in exchange for Ferrell and a 5th. So, a player swap, and the Browns move up basically from a 6th to a 5th. Would you do this trade? Before I give my answer, let me ask you to sound off in the comments section. Y for yes or N for no if you would do this trade proposed by Mitchell Renz from the Raiders Report here at Chat Sports. I would pass on this trade. The reason being is I want to see those reps go to Alex Wright. I want to see his development, okay? And you add another pass rusher, he's going to eventually take some amount of snaps away from Alex Wright, right? And I'd rather see him get some of those early snaps in his career in obvious passing situations on 3rd downs, right? When you know it's 3rd and 13 and they're going to throw the football and you want to maybe take out Jordan Elliott for another defensive end. Let Alex Wright be that guy. Don't have Clelin Ferrell take some of those reps away from your rookie and one of your more promising picks from this past draft. Next up on the show, could Odell Beckham Jr. be returning to the AFC North? An interesting social media little rumor out there we're going to unpack. But first, the NBA draft is less than 10 days away. And here at Chat Sports, we will be live streaming both rounds of the draft. And here's what's really cool about our coverage compared to, say, ESPN's. We go live with the pick when it happens, meaning we don't wait for Silver to walk up to the podium and announce the pick when the Woj bomb has already been dropped and we know who the Magic, who the Thunder, whatever it may be, are going to go pick. So if you want actual up-to-date pick-by-pick selections, make sure you watch our draft coverage with Chase Sr. and Harrison Graham at youtube.com/chatsportstv. Back to the OBJ rumor and returning to the division. So Joe Burrow on Instagram talking a little smack, a little whatnot, and saying, my spidey senses is starting to tingle a bit. I honestly think athletes just do this so that people like me kind of talk about it, because I don't know what that means. And then Jamar Chase responded with 2 shh emojis, which, all right, I'm not really sure. I mean, maybe he's trying to say to Joe Burrow, like, don't let the cat out of the bag. Let's keep it under wraps here. And then OBJ says the 1. I don't know what that really means. Jeremy, one of our producers here, had to explain it to me, saying maybe OBJ is the one that Joe Burrow is talking about his spidey senses tingling of maybe a move coming in free agency. There's a lot of trying to read through the lines here. I don't think Odell Beckham Jr. is going to sign anywhere this entire summer. Right, remember, we've talked about this a handful of times in the show already. When you're coming off an ACL tear in February, you're probably not going to be ready to play until November at the absolute earliest. I mean, absolute earliest would be November. I would think December. So why sign now when you can try to get another ring by signing in October when you see, all right, this team's good, this team's bad. So I will say this. If Odell Beckham Jr. does end up in Cincinnati, that is scary. All right, this would be quite a wide receiver room because it's already loaded between Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd. And you add OBJ, and even though Baker is gone, he's still going to have a little bit of fuel to try to come out and play his best against the Browns. So adding OBJ to this room would be not ideal, let's say that, for the Browns. Honestly, just keep him out of the division. I don't want the revenge games. But speaking of the AFC North, which team do you think is the biggest threat to the Browns winning the division? Is it the Ravens, the Bengals, or the Steelers? Each team kind of has a good argument, right? Ravens are going to be healthy this year. The Bengals are coming off an AFC championship. And the Steelers are, even on a bad year, making the playoffs, and they are just consistent under Mike Tomlin. I would go with the Ravens if I had to pick. I kind of forecast a little bit of a Super Bowl hangover for the Bengals this year, and the Steelers, they got to figure out what their quarterback situation is between Pickett or Trubisky. Ravens, they got just a horrible rash of injuries last year. I don't expect that to happen again this year. So that Baltimore team healthy is going to be a dangerous team to play against. So I will go with the Ravens. All right, everyone, that's going to do it for us on today's show. I appreciate everyone that tuned in, and I'll see you guys later with more Browns news and rumors.